What's going on, everyone? Tonight, me and my brother, we haven't talked sports for a while on these airwaves, but for those that know us as individuals, and we've always talked sports together. We've always had this conversation about sports. It's interesting. Sports is one of the things that got me and this guy to be friends. One of the things that got me and this guy to be friends at an early age. So we've always shared our sports conversations. I'll never forget when I talk about me and his friendship in sports. I'll never forget how happy he was with that parade All American. Oh, it was hilarious when Othello Harrington in 1992 declared for Georgetown University. Dwayne thought this young man out of Mississippi was the second coming to Patrick Dikembe and Alonzo all in one.
I came running down to school.
I
Mr. Hayes was like, "Boy, you better calm down.
you was like, we got him.
We
We
got
got
him."
him. And to start the show off, Dwayne, I'm gonna just ask a crazy question about that. Who do you think was more of a disappointment to you and my fan base? I'm a Syracuse fan. You and my fan base, Othello Harrington or Billy Owens?
Well, see, Billy Owens was so good and talented, man. Like, I often think that Billy didn't even understand how great he was, man. Like, he just never put it all together like I thought he was going to, man. I thought he was a combination of Pearl Washington, Red Autry. I thought he was the one for Syracuse. Derek Coleman, like he could do it all, man.
You know,
Do it all.
and the craziest thing about Billy Owens, right? As much as we loved his college game, and when you think about sports and you say, can the person's game translate to the next level? He literally got drafted by the perfect team. So we thought, who a point forward, if Don Nelson, the father, not Donnie, if Don Nelson could ever get his hands on that point forward, how his skill set would translate. And I don't know if it was because Run TMC was in their heyday when he got drafted there, but it just didn't fan out. And it was like, and every time I think about the guys that came through Syracuse and then look at the team that won it, is like they won it for the guys that never won it. All the talent that came through there prior that never had an opportunity to win. But tonight is fight night, Wayne. I was watching
It is
this
fight night.
undercard. I was watching
Speaking of
some.
fights, I say it all the time on these airwaves. I want y'all to know, man, my brother be selling me short, man. I get jealous every time I do a show with him and I see the official Let's Talk sweatshirt and I don't have one. But
Oh, that's I
I'm gonna get over it. I'm gonna
no
get
no
over
no
it.
no no
It's
no.
all
I got
good.
something. You got something coming. You got something coming. Tonight, for anybody that's joining us, me and Dwayne is going to talk about uh Tank and Garcia fight night tonight, as well as we're going to talk about NFL draft. I know most people that watch us may not know that. Definitely on Let's Talk, know that we do have a sports page as well. Let's talk sports, and we used to do a lot of sports on a particular channel, but we wanted to kind of separate it,
And
for
we
the
coming
purpose.
back, man.
Yeah,
Sometimes you gotta take a step back, evaluate what you're doing, tighten your game up, and come back stronger. So we're gonna be back in the lab, man. And it's funny because I had people at my job. I had some family members say, "Yo, what happened? What y'all doing the sport? We still here. We still here, man. We're gonna be back better. Hey, it's coming. We coming. Thursday or Friday, y'all may get
yeah.
sick of us, man.
Thursday and Friday, you guys stay tuned. We're gonna do our draft show, the whole
Wall to
first
wall. I'm
round.
talking 4 hours, man.
Yeah,
Y'all
the whole
come
first round is
chill
about
with us.
3.5, 4 hours, and then third Friday we'll do our both shows where round 2 and 3 is about the same, and we'll be here 7 o'clock, a little bit before. We're gonna have some people joining the show.
Some
We
special
we
guests.
recommend all sports fans that we mess with. You could join us. I mean, all I'm gonna say is if you could hang out and swing out, come through.
Tap us in. Tap in,
So
man.
so Wayne, I had said to you before we went live, man. Is undercards what they used to be? Because the undercard to Davis and Garcia was empty.
let me just say this. Like, I'm watching this fight right now. Not the real Garcia, the undercard Garcia and Salgado. And this ain't no disrespect to anybody when I say this. They're fighting in front of a crowd as big as a Mexican bar. They look like they're in Tijuana fighting in a ring inside a bar, man. Nobody here. It's all smoky. like
Yeah,
literally no one here,
I
man.
was checking it out. I'll be having all this stuff going on, and I'm like,
And
man,
I
what
ain't
type?
gonna lie, man. This this judge, not the judge, the referee in this bout right now,
Yeah,
I swear I seen him somewhere before. It was ringside, but it was a ringside bar in New Jersey.
you might have seen him. He might have been there. You never know. You never know. You never know.
You
So
know, like I used to see in the ringside.
so let me.
So listen, man, we gonna get into it. At times you'll see me looking down because I got notes. I gotta be prepared for y'all. I can't come in here sounding crazy. And I'm gonna turn it over to my quarterback. Let him tell y'all how this is gonna all flow.
Well, we're gonna talk about the NFL draft. Somebody, I think it's Brett. I think that's Brett. I don't know. It might be Brett Baker that might have just commented, and they said boxing been dropping the ball for a while. There should be a 1 pound type fight with no names on every pay per view card. Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I used to be a big boxing fan. A lot of people may not know that. I have a friend of mine that used to box. It's going to be a very good documentary coming out within the next 2 years by the brother Curtis Schoon. It's going to be called Born to Box. He has interviewed over 50 people. He actually interviewed Victor Conte
Mm.
from the old Balco and talk about how PEDs was into the sport and stuff like that. So just be on the lookout for it. It's going to be called Born to Box. So I know a lot of people in our area, big Shakur Stevenson fans, uh, bringing the
I,
championship back to the area.
I gotta be honest. I'm excited about tonight. Um, I've always loved the sport of boxing, but in about the last 20 to 25 years, I got away from it because we never see the fights we want to see. We never see great fighters go against each other in their prime. Like they keep cheating us, man. Top rank can't get along with, you know, Golden Boy Productions, who can't get along with Mayweather Productions, who can't get along with Showtime, who can't get along. Like HBO don't even do boxing
You
no more.
no, yeah, they lost it. That's what's deep is that we remember a time where HBO boxing blew up in the early '80s,
Yeah.
and we grew up on that. And then to know that they don't even do boxing no more now. What's crazy about when you bring that about Mayweather is I didn't like Mayweather in his prime, which is interesting. I was a Mayweather hater. Didn't like his style. Didn't like his fight. But watching Mayweather probably the last 3 4 years of how he handles business and why he acted the way he acted, why he was fighting, I respect him and I really admire some of the things that he's done prior to boxing. Shout out to Al Heyman. Al Heyman is a tremendous individual
Yes,
and
he
what
is.
he's done to push the sport to wearing to basically the fighter getting their money because a lot of these fighters were getting gypped by former promoters. We ain't gonna say no names, but a lot.
No,
It's a
I bet
hard game to
it's
get
over there.
into.
It's a hard game, man.
Yeah,
And we just never see what we like. Listen, the fight I've been wanting to see, y'all, like really two guys that I think are amazing, and I just want to see them get in that squared ring and just go to war. Like it's crazy we can't see Earl Spence versus Bud Crawford, man. Like, come on. Like, and we see these fights when people is past their prime. So kudos to Tank and Ryan. for giving us this, man. Two young, undefeated. This could be a turning point for boxing. Like, I hope a lot of people bought the pay per view tonight. I hope it gets a lot of eyes because we're being blessed with a great match with two fighters in their prime.
Supporting games. The Power Show will be tomorrow night at 8:30, 9 o'clock. It'll be tomorrow.
Yeah, but tap in with us right now. We do it all. Support gaming.
I don't want to get in the Power. Not right now.
Not right now.
Not right now.
Too
Please.
hot. That's
But
too hot.
well, that'd be great. Whoever said this, allegedly they're going to announce the Bud versus Spence
Oh
fight
man,
tonight.
please, who am I
They
talking to? Please,
they I mean
you just made my
I
night.
mean they're basically being forced to fight, which is good because like Dwayne said, stop running.
Listen,
Stop running because
one of my favorite fighters of all time. Like I love him, man. It's Andre Ward, right? And his career was short circuited by Top Rank, by Bob Arum. They held him hostage for 2 years in his prime where this man couldn't get fights. And we was gypped out of some great fights,
hmm
man.
hmm
Like, let's get these. Yo, I want to secure the fight, the winner tonight. Why not?
hmm
Why not?
you know what's funny and even like you said, these promoters be trying to milk us, the consumers, for so much money because they always want to give these fighters a percentage that they got the fighters on ice, and then they trying to milk us for money for more pay per view, and leading to that. And like you said about you being a big boxing fan, I really think that boxing realized it was on its way out with MMA.
UFC is crushing it,
Yeah,
man. Like, look at all the promotions that Dana White gives you, and you see who you really want to see in that. You know?
I'm your huckleberry.
I know one thing. And to answer the person's question, has anyone ever left Bob Arum happy? I hate to say it, is that the sport might need to be regulated.
Well,
Let me just say it like that.
it's been a problem forever because these organizations, the WBO, the WBC, the IBF, who are all run by crooks. These guys, and I'm a name drop, man, because it's a sports and this is what we do. We debate. These Jose Suleimans and all these people, man, it's crazy, man. Like, I love Larry Hazard. You know, he was the boxing commissioner for, New Jersey. You would see him in Atlantic City, all that. I know his son was real big in Jersey too. And it just, remember when we was kids, Q? Roberto Duran for Leonard, Hearns. You had Hearns,
but
Hagler. You had
Dwayne,
Hagler, Leonard.
we probably didn't realize it when we were younger that the game always been corrupt. The game
Yeah,
always
yeah,
been
yeah.
the promoters, and basically, and this is why they always said certain fighters took dives because they had no regulating authority around that couldn't be influenced outside. And that leads to what me and you always talk about is how they made gambling so legal in New Jersey with the basically taking OTB out of the commission and stuff like that, because without no regulated authority, sometimes people lay that muscle game down. Like,
Listen, I love boxing so much, man. I remember after that farce, and you heard me and I said it, that farce of a decision when they said that Ray Leonard beat my man Marvelous Marvin Hagler. I remember I was at a family function and this guy said something to my Uncle Clarence. And my Uncle Clarence, and I hope we ain't got no kids watching, but my Uncle Clarence said, if you believe Ray Leonard won that fight, you believe in the Easter Bunny, Santa Claus, and the Tooth Fairy.
yes, yes, supporting game. I appreciate the support, bro. Dwayne appreciates the support. The other channel is there as well. It's called Let's Talk Sports. But from time to time we'll stream on both channels if you don't mind checking us out. We'll just talk. We definitely gonna talk about sports on at least two
I'm
three
sorry.
times a month to try to
I gotta make a disclaimer, y'all. It's storming in Union, and I got a dog, man, and she nervous, and she up under me and she shaking. So if you see my screen shaking, it's because my Jazzy is nervous. I'm trying to comfort her through the storm.
so Wayne, let's talk NFL draft, man. I know it's been a lot of crazy conversations. Me and you have talked about some of the weirdness that has went on. It's been an interesting offseason, and I think that we're finally witnessing the buyer beware part of the NFL. And what I mean by that is these players signing these contracts and within 2 years asking to be traded. And I really think that when the next CBA comes up, these teams are going to ask not to be penalized with that hard penalty with the signing bonus because we've seen basically these players force their way out of contracts, which I'm always for player empowerment, but they got to be careful of what you ask for. We see Lamar asking for a certain amount of guaranteed money, and it's clear collusion going on. A premium quarterback, 25 years old, MVP, and everybody's saying they're set at quarterback, which I think is crazy. We see the Jets and Aaron Rodgers. We don't know what's going on with that. Like, what are they waiting for? And
I
it's just
think
a whole
draft night.
and it's just a whole bunch of interesting things in the landscape of the NFL. But NFL season is always 24/7, and we got the draft coming Thursday, and I know you got some players earmarked. And
Let me ask you a question, man. How long into the show do you want to wait till I become hated?
start from the door.
Okay, here's my buyers beware session of the 2023 NFL draft. Lucas Van Ness, edge rusher out of Iowa. This brother never started a game for Iowa. Never started. And I'm seeing these draft pundits telling me he's going to be a top 15 pick. Have you ever heard of the name Mike Mamula before? This guy is Mike Mamula 2.0. He's a workout warrior. He's a combine maniac. He never started a game at
But
Iowa.
I'm gonna
Now,
ask you a question.
before people kill me, I know it's known that Kirk Ferentz likes to start the seniors and stuff like that. But if you are a top 15 can't miss prospect, there's no way that no college coach should ever be able to keep you out of the starting lineup. Okay? Number two, a buyer beware. Quarterback Will Levis of Kentucky. The general manager that hires that drafts this boy in the first round will be fired in 2 years because he couldn't beat out Sean Clifford at Penn State.
Hey Anthony, where you been, man? We ain't been Anthony. We ain't seen you all year for our power shows, man. Our power shows is Monday night now. We might be switching tonight, but this coming Monday, Anthony, we'll do our review on power. Anthony, I know you. I know
Is
you
that
was
a
into.
Sam? Is that Sam Howell I spy?
Yeah.
Do I spy Sam Howell? I like it. I like it.
Hey Wayne, far as the kid from Iowa, let me ask you something about him.
And I
And I
got
and
one
I'm
more.
and I'm trying to be objective.
I got one more. That's
Is it
not gonna make
is
me.
it is it is it possible that this kid could be a AJ Hawk type of situation?
Anything's possible, but Eagles, please draft him. Please draft him at 10, Philly. Please. I beg you. Listen to the pundit. And my third buyer beware, which is not gonna make me well like stay away from Anthony Richardson at all costs.
In
I
the
saw
first
him,
round or period?
period. I saw this young man play at Florida. I don't care what he looks like in t-shirt and shorts. I don't care how he throws the ball in t-shirt. my eyes when I see him in game. You know who I think is going to wind up being the best quarterback in this whole entire draft? Hendon Hooker. I know he's 25 years old. I know he's coming off an injury, but you give me Hendon Hooker over all these guys, over all of them, over all of them. You heard it here first. Hendon Hooker's going to be the steal of the NFL draft this year.
Wow.
And guess what, y'all? He's going in the first round. Don't be surprised if Minnesota take him at like 23. He's going in the first round. Somebody going to be smart. And what's going to happen to the NFL is some playoff team is going to grab him, and they already got people around him. Hendon Hooker, yes.
So let me. I know you got a big board of top 15 guys.
All right, do you want to go through the draft order before we get into that?
Anthony, you said you brought up the Vikings. I actually talked to a Viking guy yesterday, and he was a knowledgeable sports guy I work with, and he said to me, as much as he would like an offensive player, he said we got to draft defense. He said we're so fixated on offense that it cost us Adam Thielen, and it has now going to probably cost us Dalvin Cook. So if you look at the transition, they need to transition to defense. It's hard drafting in the NFL, getting these guys and thinking they're going to stay 3-4 years, and you got to pop. And I know me and Dwayne going to discuss it more when we do the draft show on Thursday and Friday. But you get your stars in the first round. You get the core of your team in the later rounds. And if you ever look at the teams that are really, really good, they pop on them later round picks. They really pop. So, Dwayne,
first round is the nice little presentation.
Yeah.
The rest of the draft is the meat and potatoes. Yes. All right, you said my name. Who am I trouble with?
And give a shout out to somebody who was in the podcasting family, and he actually works for one of the radio stations down in Dallas. Jeff Kavanaugh. He coined it best, Captain Trade Down.
Yes.
If you can get out of that pick in that first round, and collect more of definitely the top 100 guys, top 100 picks,
okay,
you want to do it. Dwayne.
Yes.
Go right ahead, sir.
Okay, so I want to give credit. When I was a kid, man, I've been watching drafts since I was 8 years old. I had a notebook. I've been doing this, right? My idol in the draft game, I want to pay homage to him. I want to just say this man had a real big influence on me and never met me a day of my life. But rest in peace to the great Dr. Z, Paul Zimmerman. As a kid, I had a Sports Illustrated subscription, and it was my favorite issue. So I saw the issue coming out with Bryce Young on the cover, and it reminded me of Dr. Z. And now my modern day Dr. Z is Dan Bugler of The Athletic. So I rocks with him. I love his guide where he rates all of the prospects in there.
How many players this year does the great Dan Bugler have in the Beast?
He calls it the Beast, folks. It's 359 players in the Beast. Okay, it's crazy. So shout out to them. I did, and we'll get right into it. And again, I gotta look at my notes. I did me. I go by my nickname D-Mo when I'm doing some of this sports stuff. So I did the D-Mo top 15 prospects, and I was gonna do 15, and my brother Quentin challenged me to do 20. So I'm gonna go with my top 20 prospects, and it's crazy because I said I think somebody's gonna be a bust, but I put them in my top 20 prospects because everybody's saying he is. So it's kind of hypocritical on my part, but it's only one of them. But anyway, at 20, I went with Anthony Richardson, the quarterback from Florida. The scouts see traits in him, man. The scouts see big kid, athletic kid,
Vince
fast,
Young,
strong. You don't want to be labeled as Vince Young. That's my thing. Like, why would you want to be labeled as? What did he say? He called the Philadelphia Eagles the dream team,
The dream team, and that was the beginning of the end.
and they wound up being the dream team, but they wound up being the dream team without him.
I'm your huckleberry.
Well, Anthony, if Richardson is Cam Newton's the MVP of the NFL. So if Richardson is anywhere near Cam Newton, he'll be the MVP. Cam Newton's career went the other way when Cam Newton allegedly can't throw the ball because of his shoulder. And Cam Newton had a bum shoulder, and I think one of the problems with Cam Newton is that he was so good in his heyday, he don't want to play the game right now. He don't want to be a backup.
Now, Anthony Richardson, I hear it. I hear people saying he's Cam Newton. I hear it. But one thing about me, man, is I watch football. I'm a junkie. Like, I watch youth football, high school football, college football. I've seen enough of game action, literal games of Anthony Richardson, and I put him in my top 20 prospects because I have to, because this is what everybody's doing. But I'm not sold. I'm not 100% sold. That's why I put him at 20. If I kept my list at 15, he wouldn't have been in there. So that's why I got him at 20. But at 19, I have one of my favorite players in the draft. He's very undersized. He's going to be a slot. He's not going to be an X or a Y. He's going to be a slot. And that's Zay Flowers of Boston College. He's a tick under. He's short, about 5'10". Very twitchy player though, man. Like, he's not a blazer, but he's not slow, if that makes sense. He has football speed, football quickness. Whenever I watch Boston College, all I see is him making plays all over the field, man. So you mess around and let somebody like Kansas City get him, and we're gonna be, how does the world keep letting Patrick Mahomes get receivers like this? Da-da-da. Zay Flowers is going to be a very, very solid football player in this NFL.
Let me ask you a question about the receivers. I looked at all the receivers, and to say the least, that like all these receivers is light in the ass would be an understatement. Is this the year where we're going to get a lot of flanker slot guys?
I mean, what was always the knock on receivers going way back to when we was kids? You got to be careful taking receivers in the first round because receivers is one of the positions that's the hardest to develop in. But now we got a new NFL, man. We got a wide open NFL where it's like 7-on-7. Um, really? You think his career will be over in Baltimore? Now remember, man, he'll have Odell there with him. And when it's all said and done, he's going to have Lamar at quarterback. But yeah, I can feel you on that. Again, he's 5'9". That's generous. 182 pounds. That's generous. But he's a 4'4". He's a 4'2" guy. And he's a slot. He's a slot. You're not gonna put him on the outside. He's not gonna be one of these.
Is that that Coach Reed is a genius with that. He'll take a slot guy who we loved last year, like Sky Moore, and use him in certain games. And we saw Sky Moore actually jumped on the scene during the playoffs.
Mhm.
Is that something that, like you said, if he'll fall all the way down in the draft, people will be like, Zay Flowers, decent pick for Kansas City, but then realizing the mismatches that Coach Reed could provide, that's when he'll pop.
Mhm.
Because basically that's what Kelsey is. Kelsey's basically the go-to receiver there. The offenses ran through him, and Zay Flowers could go there and don't even be noticed, and then just pop by the middle of the season playoff time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
So
your huckleberry.
at 18, I have the tight end out of Notre Dame, Michael Myers, 6'4.5", 249 pounds. He is your every down tight end. He's a tight end that doesn't have to come off the field. He's solid in the run blocking game. He will kill linebackers on seam routes.
I hate to say it, and I know that some of the conversation about him has been baby Gronk.
That's big. That's big. But he wears the same number. He's big. He's athletic. He's strong. Like I said, he's tough. Tough as nails. He'll put his nose in there in the run game. He will run block. But his pass catching skills, man, he catches the ball. Now, I'm not saying he going to run away from you a la Travis Kelsey or back in the day, Tony Gonzalez. But he's a better athlete than Jason Witten. Jason Witten, a Hall of Famer. So I'm not saying Michael Myers is a Hall of Famer. I'm just saying he has traits. And if you really look on NFL.com, they player comped him to Jason Witten, which I saw it and I was like, I think he's a little bit more athletic than Jason Witten. But you can't go wrong drafting
I'm gonna ask you because I know
draft.
that some people have said he reminds them of Gronk, and I know you said it before when we was doing our show. I don't think a lot of people understand how good Gronk and Aaron Hernandez really would have been if Hernandez situation wouldn't have spiraled out of control. So can you see a team that already has an established tight end saying, "Yo, let's grab him and we're gonna run a lot out of 21 personnel and just run down your throats and kill you with seam routes and just saying you're gonna have to defend this with base personnel."
I think yes, because I think if you look at the other tight ends that's out there, Kincaid, to me, he's more of a receiver. He's not as strong in the blocking game as Meyer is. Um, the other one, Musgrove, that listen,
Well, Anthony, me and Dwayne and myself are both Cowboy fans, and
if
this is the
Meyer's
year.
there,
This is the year of the tight end.
if Meyer's there at 26, I run the card in if I'm the Cowboys. Being honest, as a Cowboy fan, because especially with Mike McCarthy taking over this offense, you think back to Franks, you think back to I'm drawing
He
a
was a
blank.
bit, he was a young man, but when Shamora was there, he was around.
Chamora, yeah. So, you know, Ryella, those shallow crossing routes, all that stuff. He's the type of tight end that fits into that system. But, Musgrave is more of a receiving. And the knock on one of my favorite players who I'll get deeper into a little bit later, they're saying he's just a blocker. But as I said, later I will get into who that player is. I don't want to talk about him right now. Um, but yeah,
So it's legitimately
like
six, right? Six tight ends, legitimately six tight ends in this draft.
yeah, if you go Laporta's there. He's moving up draft boards now. Um, I think he's going to be a good tight end, Laporta, but I wouldn't be trying to draft Laporta until third round. That's just me. I see some people that mocked him as a first rounder. I don't know. I watch Big Ten football. I do. I'm a Michigan fan, so I watch football in the Big Ten. So I know who Laporta is. And if people will remember from last year, one of the things I was saying to Quentin Ford was, I love Jake Ferguson, and I love Jake Ferguson before the Cowboys picked him in the fourth round. If you go back and look at our shows, I love Big Ten tight ends, man. I do. Um, Laporta,
If
he's a
they from
good.
Wisconsin,
He's
you
good.
definitely like them, huh?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Wisconsin and Stanford is pushing out tight ends and linemen like it ain't
yeah,
nothing.
yeah. So my 17th prospect, when I'm doing my top 20 prospect, is the big fella from Ohio State, 6'6", 313 pounds, Paris Johnson Jr. Um, man, he's nasty. He's nasty. He got a mean streak. He gonna punch you in the mouth. He gonna punch you in the mouth again, and then he gonna punch you in the mouth again. You
You know what?
know,
As you say the names, it's funny because we don't do a lot of pre-production. We conversate a lot, but we both do a lot of draft stuff separately, and then like we'll talk if we see something, we'll conversate and we'll talk for hours. But it's funny. I'm gonna ask you about him. Can you take him from right tackle and put him at guard, and would he be nasty in that run game?
he be nasty. He'd be nasty. You know, he could play guard or tackle. He has that versatility. Like, listen, I know we was talking about Mike Myers to the Cowboys. Let me tell you something. It ain't gonna happen. But if Paris Johnson is there at 26, I say welcome to Dallas. Joy playing next to Tyler Smith for the next 10 years. Because I'm looking at left guard and I'm saying, let's go to work with that young left side of the line. That's one of the good things about him is his versatility. He can play inside, he can play outside. Now, anybody that knows, the last 2 years, this ain't rubbing no salt on nobody. The last 2 years, Ohio State has. I'm good. You good? Yeah. The last 2 years, Ohio State has had problems with my team, Michigan, and they've had problems with quick edge rushers like David Ajabo, who's now a Baltimore Raven, and Aiden Hutchinson, who had a great rookie season. Johnson struggled with them a little bit. He struggled with those edges getting off the line and his kick step and everything. But I think you get to the NFL, you get a little bit of higher level of coaching there, and I think he's gonna be, fine. But to your point, I think you're talking about a perennial Pro Bowler at guard. I think you're talking about a solid player at tackle.
Okay. Okay. You know what it is, Wayne. And we always kick it, and most people don't understand that. The third one out of the crew, Brother Walker, his specialty is lineman, and usually we could predict one of the things, and we're not the predicting type. We just go off of what we see and what we see with teams. You could kind of forecast what teams will be, and we kind of forecast the nastiness that the Detroit Lion offensive line has got and what the Eagles have been. So when you have these tackles who are super athletic, who are big, strong, and good at the point of attack, if you slide them into that guard position, it provides that quarterback the protection in front of them. And how a quarterback can handle somewhat an edge rusher, but they can't handle pressure up front. They can't handle, and we've seen the Aaron Donalds, who's special. They can wreck your whole game if they could provide pressure up front. Not like you can't chip a Aaron Donald because you don't know where he's going to be. Sometimes when you got the end, you could chip. So you need those nasty guards, and you definitely need a center who's able to identify the mic and identify where he needs to help out on the edges sometimes with. So that's why I always ask you about these tackles who get moved, who are versatile, who can play guards, because teams who appear to be set at tackle, the Cowboys, for one, we drafted a guy who was a right tackle in college, and we basically turned him into the greatest guard probably in the history of our franchise outside of Larry Allen. So I'm always interested in saying, well, can he play guard?
Yeah, he can play
Because
guard.
flexibility that's what it's all about now.
It's all about that. And this is a game now. Everybody knows the quarterback gets all the money. Look at Jalen Hurts. He just got paid. But this has become a game of pass protectors and those who can get after the quarterback. And you're going to see it at the top of this draft. You're going to see a bunch of offensive linemen going. And you're going to see a bunch of edge rushers going. And that leads me right into my 16th player of the year. It's a lot of mixed reviews on this kid. I absolutely love him. I absolutely love Miles Murphy out of Clemson. 6'5", 265, has great arms. Um, think Bradley Chubb. Think edge rusher like that. He gets after it, man. I love him. I love his long arms. I love how what he likes to do. Like, he'll bull rush you, but when he extends his arms, and I know it's college, but Clemson, man, that's the teams they play, and as much as they're in the college football playoffs, they right there. I love the way this kid uses his hands. I love it. And I think he's a blank canvas, man. I think he gets in the right system on the right team with the right D-line coach, and people will be like, how did this guy go at the bottom half of the draft? I think when it's all said and done, he ain't going in the bottom half of the first round. As I was joking and I was hoping that the Eagles draft Van Ness, I'm gonna say, please, Eagles, don't draft Miles Murphy. Please. But I'm a big fan of this kid, man. Is he gonna be a run stuffer? That's where he's weak at. He gotta learn how to play against the rush a little bit. Time to times, he got a little bit of a Zeke Elliott in him. He'll tap sometimes. But I think if he gets with the right coaching staff, I think I think just the potential is there for him, man. I'm such a big fan of this kid, um, Miles Murphy. 16 is my second favorite wide receiver in this draft. Jordan Addison of USC. He was at Pitt before USC. He's a former Fred Biletnikoff winner. And he's just a wide receiver, man. He's just a wide receiver. Like, you can move him around, you can play him on the outside, you can play him on the inside. Um, is he a burner? Not really a burner, you know, but he catches most things. He doesn't have those lapses where he drops a lot of balls. Um, you know, like I said, not a speed demon. He ran a 4.49 40, you know, but he's under 6 foot. Get it, 174 pounds, but
Great comparison, Anthony. Look at that comparison, Dwayne.
he is Lockett. That's exactly who he is, Anthony. I'm liking you on the show tonight. He is Lockett,
Great
and
comparison.
it's a great comparison to him. And what does Lockett do? He's probably the most underrated wide receiver in the NFL.
Well, we talked about him for 2 years, man. Lockett, I may sound crazy. He is more important than DK Metcalf. He's not more valuable, but he's more important. And the reason why he keeps anywhere, if you go back into the days when they were tough, it was Lockett. It wasn't even Baldwin. It was Lockett making the plays.
Hmm.
Lockett was Russ's guy. So that's a great comparison by you, Anthony. Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
Wayne.
he is good. Then next on the list, I got the big kid out of Northwestern, Peter Skoronsky. A lot of people think he's the best in the draft. As far as offensive tackles, I've seen him going as high as 9 to the Bears. He's 6'4", 313 pounds, has family lineage, as he had a father that played in the NFL. Um, he's actually my second rated offensive tackle in this draft. I have him as the second rated, and I have him as my number 15 prospect. One of the knocks, I'm sorry, not 15, number 14 prospects. One that knocks you here on is his
Mhm.
arm length, short arm. So some people think he would be better served playing guard. Remember a name, Eric Flowers. His knock coming into the league was that he had short arms, and that's why he struggled at offensive tackle. He reinvented himself in this league when he got to Washington, when Washington had him, and Washington played him at guard. I think the Dolphins also played him at guard. So it's funny that I say that because he's a tackle, right? But if you look at his NFL, and I want to give credit, if you look at his NFL.com comparison, and this is Lance Zerlin who does those NFL.com comparisons, his comp is Zach Martin, even though they list him as tackle. His comp is an all-pro right guard. So I think that's just a little hint.
Who's had more penalties in his career than he's given up? What? No, he's got more Pro Bowls than he's given up penalties.
And I saw something because, I love the draft and I read everything. And I made note of this for this kid. It was an executive from an NFC team. He was anonymous. He didn't want to give his name. He said Peter Swarovski is a Pro Bowler at guard, but just an average tackle for teams that play him at tackle.
So you could earmark him as one of those guys where a team might try to earmark. I was thinking about teams before we even started the show, and I was thinking about certain teams and thinking about what they've done this week, and I was thinking about the Steelers getting Allen Robinson. The Steelers got to get their offensive line together quickly.
They do. But I like him. Like I said, he's my second highest, if you want to say tackle, whatever. His flexibility, again, like Paris Johnson, the flexibility is there to move him inside. At number 13, who I think is, again, you guys heard me rave about Mayer, and I really do like him. I do, because he's complete. He could catch, he can block. At 13, I have Dalton Kincaid from Utah, the tight end. I know he's coming off an injury, but the way this game is played now, when you think about Dalton Kincaid, think Kelsey, not as athletic as Kelsey, but
He's Kittle.
think Dallas Goedert, think a young Zach Ertz. He's going to catch that ball, man. He is going to catch that ball. He's somebody that at times with the right team, he is a guy that I think they'll split out wide because he has receiver traits, man. His ball tracking, the way he high points balls, and the way he gets after it, he could be a wide receiver. He is a wide receiver in the tight end's body. So, Anthony, who are you saying that's 16
Talking
from
about
Washington?
Kincaid.
Oh, yeah, I can see it. He is going to be a problem.
And Anthony, make no mistake, me and Dwayne are not Washington football team fans at all. We hope they don't draft him.
Let me tell you something. He has amazing feet for a tight end. And his burst off the line of scrimmage, if you're trying to jam him, he gets off jams, man. Again, he ain't going to help you in the run game at all. Eventually, he may be able to make himself into a decent blocking, but he is a liability in the run game.
Oh yeah, Anthony's a Washington fan, Dwayne.
Okay. Yeah. I understand, Anthony. So I like him. This is going to be strange because I got him rated above Mayer, okay? And you may think I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth when I say what I'm about to say. Mayer's the more complete tight end from a blocking, pass catching standpoint. But Kincaid is an elite pass catcher from the tight end position. And that's why I rate him at 13. I just really like the kid. At 12, I'm very much in the minority. Very much so. Okay? I think people are going to be very surprised on draft day. Folks, I think Darnell Wright is the best offensive lineman in this draft. And that's where I have him rated. 6'5", 333 pounds. He played his senior year. He may be one of the older prospects.
Can do it all. Play all the positions.
He play everything but center. Okay. He mauls people.
Will and you know I like to say it. Pencil him in 12 years, 8 Pro Bowls.
You pencil him, and he could do it at guard, or he could do it at tackle. Let me tell y'all something. I go crazy when I do these draft shows with Quentin, and we have our special guests that come on. Tell you something right now. Cowboys get to 26. I may disconnect from the draft show run around outside barefoot if the Cowboys draft this young man and put him at left guard. I think he's the best offensive lineman in this draft, man.
Penny Sewell.
Let's not go crazy. Okay, I'm not saying he's been soon. I said this draft class.
Okay, I'm just
In this draft class.
okay.
I've been wrong before, but man, he's a big body, nasty offensive lineman, man. He will bulldoze you. He knows how to work combos. He's got great feet. He's athletic enough. He's my favorite offensive lineman. You heard it here first. At 11, my eyes don't deceive me. He's an edge rusher. Some people say they don't know about him. I know all I need to know about him. He plays for my best friend Craig's team. Nolan Smith from Georgia, man. Just put on the film. That's all. Watch number 4 in the red uniform. Watch him. Big, athletic, can get after it, man. Like they talking about this Van Ness guy. This Van Ness guy cannot hold Nolan Smith jockstrap. Van Ness is a bust.
Let me ask
I
you.
will sing it
It's
to
always
the
been.
mountaintop.
Can you put Nolan Smith at the edge?
He is an edge. Straight edge. I'm not playing him at outside linebacker. I heard some people that were saying you could put him at outside linebacker. Not me. Not me. I think he is the most underrated edge in this draft. I don't think people giving him enough credit. I get it. He's 6'2", 238. A little slight. But that bend and the way he gets off the edge and the way he come after them quarterbacks, man.
Well, I seen a guy that didn't get drafted. That was a small guy in stature. That probably was one of the most fierce edges we've ever seen in the last 20 years. It's James Harrison. Didn't get drafted, but he had dog in him from day one to the day he didn't play no more. Like
Listen,
he
man,
never lost it. He just got slower, but he never lost it.
all I know is this Nolan Smith has played in big games. And I think sometimes we got to stop looking at tape and start looking at production on the field. This man played in big games at Georgia. That's all I'm saying to you. Next up, we're going to the cornerback position with my 10th rated player. It is Devin Witherspoon from Illinois. You know, we're getting into this era where everybody wants the 6'2", 6'3", big corners. We don't look like the little guys because they have to play in the nickel. They're playing slot receivers. Listen, Devin Witherspoon is 5'11 and a half. He's 181 pounds. He can play outside, folks. He can play outside, man. He can play outside. He has great eyes.
I'm not trying to compare him to a great player who's a great coach who's small in stature. Is he Aaron Glenn?
That's a big one, man. Like you know, Aaron Glenn is you know I love corners. I want to be very careful and make sure. The only thing I would say about Witherspoon sometimes is within the first 5 yards, he can be handsy. He can get his hands on you. Something that he got away with in college. I don't know if they're gonna let him get away with it in the pros. Even though he's 5'11", man, he don't mind putting his nose in there. He a Big Ten corner, so he don't mind putting his nose in there. You know, last year alone, man, he had 14 pass breakups. Yeah, I can agree with that. He a Slay type. He had 14 pass breakups last year, man. He reads routes. It's almost like he's a receiver. He know what they gonna do in the route tree, and he right there. Man, I ain't gonna bore y'all. I can go on and on and on about this young man all night. I know we got other things that we got to get done, so we're gonna go with my number 9, and it doesn't make me feel good to pick up this kid at 9 as a Michigan fan. I don't like anybody from Ohio. Like, I don't as a Michigan fan. But let me just say you something. Let me ask you a question, Quentin Ford. I'm gonna throw some names at you that played in the NFL last year. Chris Olave, good ball player.
Chris Olave was a steal of the draft that the Saints got. He clearly he has people thinking about the Saints because Michael Thomas is back. Is the Saints winning their division? Because Chris Olave literally popped.
Garrett Wilson of the Jets. He was
Pro Bowler.
offensive rookie of the year, right?
Yeah.
Pretty good. They were teammates at Ohio State, right? They were teammates at Ohio State in 2021, right? Jackson Smith and Beckwith was better than both of them for Ohio State in 2021. And we got people that's knocking this kid and thinking he ain't going to be good because he didn't play last year because he got an ankle injury.
Is he the number one? Is he the number one receiver on your board?
He is the number one receiver on my board. That's why he's number 9 in my prospect list. You name the route, he can run it. He catches everything. Easy catches, tough catches, over the middle. Okay? Stop routes.
Played big time high school football out of Texas, too.
Big time high school football out of Texas. Listen, I don't understand what the debate is, man. This kid is amazing. And like I said, I don't like saying it because he played for that team in Ohio. But to me, he's the best wide receiver in this draft. Like, if I'm the Houston Texans, at 2, I'm taking CJ Stroud, and at 12, I'm taking Smith and Jigba.
He might be better than Hopkins coming out.
He may be.
He might be better than Hopkins coming out.
He may be, but Anthony, you helping me out tonight, man. You giving some good comparisons. All right? Now, Quinn Ford. Quinn Ford's going to be a little bit surprised with who I got at number 8 because he going to say to y'all, knowing a little guy like I know, I thought this would be his number 1 player and prospect. My number 8 prospect, man, is Joey Porter Jr. out of Penn State. Physical, tough corner. Plays like his father, man. He played like his father at corner, man.
Let me ask you about Porter Jr. This was somebody that you earmarked to me early during the college season, and you said, "Yo, you got to watch him." Has he fell off a little bit? Because I haven't been hearing his name that much.
Some people are saying he fell off because you know why? He doesn't get it. Who? A perfect situation for you. Who was the Dallas Cowboy that you always said, Wayne, he's so good, man. Like, Wayne, you be killing him. He's so good. And I said to you, how many career interceptions does he have?
Byron Jones.
Byron Jones. He could cover all day long. He just don't catch the balls, man. He don't catch the balls, man. He don't catch the balls. But he can cover all day long. You know, he's an alpha. Who don't want an alpha at corner, man? He's an alpha, man.
So he's definitely Joey Porter's son.
Man, he reroutes receivers. There's nobody else in the... Now, he ain't my number 1 corner. Okay? He's not. We will get into who my number 1 corner is. But I'm talking my number 1 corner, the corner that I have over him, only reason I have him over Joey Porter is just physical traits. Just physical traits. But as far as being the dog, as far as being challenged, only thing, man, sometimes he's not twitchy enough. You know what I mean? Somebody get him with the stop and go, he'll fall for that a little bit. But to me, there's always something about a little bit of family legacy and DNA. Joey Porter Sr. was a dog. His son is a dog. Got Joey Porter Jr. at 8. At 7, I got the edge rusher from Texas Tech, Tyree Wilson. He's a freak. They want to keep talking to us about Lucas Van Ness and all his traits, and he's trash. Tyler Wilson got a lot of traits, man. I can see him going as high as 5 to Seattle. I think he's just an edge rusher. He just has a great bend. He comes around the corner, but he can also dip inside and get to there.
Speaking of that, before you even mentioned that, you mentioned that team, and I want to give John Snyder and Pete Carroll props. Anybody that's a Seattle fan, what that organization has done with their personnel in the last 2 years has been utterly amazing. Drafted all them starters last year, and they got what me and you love to talk about during our draft shows is when you got cachet in the draft, you are gold. When you got all these picks, when you could trade a first round pick during the draft and parlay that and have it roll over to the next year, is that you have options. And John Snyder, who came from the Packer organization, he knows what he's doing.
What's one of the things
They
that
fleeced Denver, by the way.
what's one of the things that we're always impressed about when we watch football on Sundays? You and I, we look at it through a little different eye. We love those people that could come on the backside and get the running back before he gets upfield. Okay, this kid can do that.
Okay.
He will crash it down on the back end, man. Like he'll be strong in the back end. I'm a fan of his.
Which Dwayne, a lot of people don't realize. A lot of these coaches scheme where they let the back end free, which I think is the weirdest thing for an offense to ever do. Is not count that back end edge, who, if he's athletic enough, he can get after it.
Yeah, man. So then we go, and at number 6, I got C.J. Stroud from Ohio State. I like C.J. Stroud. I'm not falling for that 18th percentile on that S2 cognitive. I mean, I want him to play quarterback. I don't want him to do brain surgery. It's quarterback. Kid's been watching and breaking down film since he was in high school.
I saw the smartest person ever on the Wonderling test. He won 2 Super Bowls, but most people feel like he's never going to be a Hall of Fame because all the interceptions he threw and all the bad games he had. Eli Manning scored the highest ever on the Wonderling test, and I don't think the Wonderling test, him scoring the highest, translated to NFL. And I was a big Eli Manning fan. I thought he was ice cold. But interesting. Anthony just put something up, Dwayne. I'm glad you drunk a sip of your soda, because once I put this up, you might run up the steps.
Wow.
Big statement, Anthony.
That's big. Anthony, I'm going to screenshot that, and I'm going to keep it. Man, you're going to talk during the season. I like C.J. Stroud. I think C.J. Stroud has to use his athleticism a little bit more. I think, sometimes when he gets out of the pocket, he's kind of like a person with his hair on fire. He don't know exactly what to do. I can remember vividly he had a terrible pick this year in the Michigan game where he got out of the pocket and he got pressured and he threw it to a damn defensive tackle. he just won that ball out of his hand. But he showed me something in that game against Georgia in the national semifinal. Like he balled, man. And if Marvin Harrison Jr. and if is one of the worst words in the dictionary. But if Marvin Harrison Jr. doesn't get hurt in that game, Ohio State may hold on and beat Georgia. But I like C.J. Stroud. I'm not putting him on the Herbert level just yet. I like to see him get a little bit stronger. He looks a little rail thin a little bit to me, so I like to see him get a little bit stronger. But I think he's going to be a very solid pro quarterback, man. I really do. I think it's disgusting what has happened to him in the last week. I think he is that prospect this year. Every year, they jump on a prospect and they just beat a prospect up. Everybody's going crazy over this 18% tile on the cognitive test. But I like him. At 5, who I think is the best quarterback in this draft, I don't give a damn that this boy is 5'9", 204 pounds. Bryce Young played for one of the toughest coaches at Alabama. He's a former Heisman winner. And one thing I know about Bryce Young, y'all, the kid's a winner. And sometimes you can't measure heart, determination, and just will and being a winner on measurables, he can be your face of your franchise. Tomorrow, he could be your face of the franchise. Um, Played at a very prestigious high school at Mater Dei in California for a very Bruce Rawlinson is a very, very big time name in football. His coach out there at Mater Dei. So he went from him to Nick Saban. That means he could coach. That means he could coach, be coached by anybody because he's been coached. Well, listen, I can say the same thing about a lot of quarterbacks there.
Anthony,
I
I
can say
just
the same thing about CJ Stroud.
Anthony, I want to say one thing about that. And the reason why I don't always agree with that statement, and you're correct to have that opinion because it happens a lot of times. But I'm going to tell you a player that to me went to a college that was stacked and went to the NFL and he jumped right on the scene. I did not think Joe Burrow was this good. I did not. I did not. Joe Burrow literally, if it wasn't for that little guy number 15 running around, I'm picking Joe Burrow over any quarterback in the league. He's not a turnover guy like Josh Allen. And everybody said, "Oh, Joe Burrow, he won the Heisman because of all these receivers. He was stacked." Yeah, they were stacked, and he's got stacked receivers now. But he's a winner. Go ahead to
Raising my hand because I was one of those guys.
it.
I owe Joe Burrow an apology because I was like, "Hey, Quentin, with them wide receivers and offensive line here at LSU, I thought maybe I could sit back in the pocket and win a national championship. When you throw it to Jamar Chase and those other guys that he had the ball he was throwing to at LSU that year, I like Bryce, man. I like him. I always have. Again, you could talk about his stature, and you could talk about him being undersized. He's a winner. Okay, he smart as a whip. You know. No. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Bryce Young is better than Mac Jones today, tomorrow, and every day hereafter. Mac Jones was not a good quarterback. Mac Jones fell to the hype of these people that kept saying the 49ers was going to trade their whole draft away to get Mac Jones, and they traded their whole draft away for Trey Lance. Mac Jones is, you want to talk about somebody being a system quarterback? That's Mac Jones. That's Mac Jones. And I don't know for how long he going to be in New England. But again, I like something, and this was from a personnel executive from an AFC team. That's what he said about Bryce Young. We all know he's small, but you grade the talent, and if you like him, you make sure he's protected, and you teach him how to get ball out on time. But one thing's for sure, he carries himself like a winner. I'm not saying Mac Jones had a great first year. I'm not. Why? Because he went to the Pro Bowl?
I'll say this.
Whoa. Because he went to the Pro Bowl? Let me tell you this about the Pro Bowl. Tyler Huntley of the Ravens went to the Pro Bowl last year. He threw 2 touchdown passes.
I'll say this. I'll say
I'm
this
not
about
falling for that.
I'll say this about Mac Jones. And I know a lot of people may not like him, but I and clearly, Anthony, you've seen his work because I know where you're from. But it got so bad with Mac Jones that they're literally throwing a Hail Mary by re-signing Bill O'Brien. Now, Bill O'Brien got 4 different quarterbacks in the playoffs, but Bill O'Brien and the coach, they are not on good terms like everybody think. And that was more of a Robert Kraft move. That, you got to do something with this quarterback because you drafted high for him and you basically let Tom get the door. So I'm not saying Mac Jones is good. I'm not saying he's bad. I don't even think, unfortunately, going into this year, that we know who Mac Jones is because he's not better than 2 of the quarterbacks in his division. And if they get Aaron Rodgers, Mac Jones will be the 4th worst quarterback in their division. And at the end of the day, if you're not 1 and 2 in your division at the quarterback position, at least you're never going to be good. I don't care what type of defense you got on the field. You have to be 1 and 2 in your division.
Yeah.
Well,
So okay, we'll agree to disagree. I'm not a Mac Jones guy. I never was and never will be. So my number 4 prospect, if you go to the machine and say physically with traits and speed and aggressiveness, build me a defensive back, the computer will spit out Christian Gonzalez. He's 6'1", 197 pounds. Man runs a 4.3 40. Very good in coverage. Very explosive. He's very fluid with his hips. Has a lot of loose movement. He has length. He's a bully in press coverage. He has great feet. He has great hips. He doesn't catch everything, but that's why he's a defensive back. That's one of the oldest things they say in the world.
yeah.
He needs to be better in the run game. He does. He does. But you can't teach size, and speed kills in this NFL. And I think he will be the first corner off the board. I have him at number 4. Um, yeah, started off at Colorado. He was a buff out of high school, and then he transferred into Oregon. I think he's special. I think he's somebody that you put out there. One of the funniest moments from one of our draft shows a couple years ago is when the Denver Broncos swooped in and took my man Patrick Surtain Jr., and I wanted him bad on the Dallas Cowboys. It hurt my heart, man. I didn't know how to act. But my number 3 prospect, Bijan Robinson, man. 3 down back, fast, explosive, can catch, can help you in pass pro. I know they say that running back is undervalued. You don't take a running back with a high first round pick. If it was my team, I'm taking Bijan Robinson twice on Sundays. I love this kid. I love everything about him. Um, do I think he was the best back in college football last year? It's debatable. I'm a Michigan fan. I got to go with Blake Corn, but he got hurt. But all joking aside, I mean, he won the Doak Walker Award. He's a primo prospect, man. There's no way I don't think he makes it past 15. I don't care that he's a running back. I pray to God the Philadelphia Eagles don't draft him at 10. My number 3 prospect is Bijan Robinson. My number 2 prospect is Jalen Carter from Georgia, the nose tackle. Um, he's number 1 on a lot of draft boards. He came off that when it came out about the drinking. Then he had some other things that happened. He didn't have the best pro day. All I'll say to you is turn on the Georgia film and tell me you don't see 88 all over the field, wearing number 88 playing defensive tackle. I think he's the second best prospect in this draft. And I think somebody, like people think he going to fall. I don't think he falls past 7 to the Raiders. He's a Raider. He's a Raider type player, man. But I wouldn't be surprised if Pete Carroll gave him an opportunity at 5. If the kid starts to fall, you're going to see some team come up to get him, and they're going to be happy that they did. My number 1 prospect, who's been my number 1 prospect from day 1, who if he was in the draft last year, he'd have been my number 1 prospect last year in the draft. I absolutely love Will Anderson Jr. out of Alabama. I could go on and on for hours about this kid. I won't waste your time. He's amazing. He's good in the run game. He knows how to get after the quarterback. He's a winner. He has plush traits, and he is my number one prospect in this NFL draft. That is my top 20, man. Again, Will Anderson, Jalen Carter, Bijan Robinson, Christian Gonzalez, Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Tyree Wilson, Joey Porter Jr., Jackson Smith and Jegba, Donovan Witherspoon, Nolan Smith, Darnell Wright, Dalton Kincaid, Peter Skoronsky, Jordan Addison, Miles Murphy, Paris Johnson Jr., Mike Myers, Zay Flowers, Anthony Richardson, the Demo, top 20 prospects for the draft.
I'm gonna ask you about 5 players.
Okay.
Before I ask you about 5 players, and I'm gonna put each player about it on the screen. I'm gonna ask you. I've heard Saquon Barkley and Bijan Robinson. Give me a comp for him, Dwayne.
I think Barkley's better.
Because because I know how you feel about Saquon, and what bothers you about Saquon is that he doesn't follow the hole. He's a great back, but he's more of he makes great out of muddle situations, and he don't run straight to the hole.
Right.
Who? And I'm not knocking Saquon because he's good at what he does, but I saw some stuff of Bijan, and the first thing I thought with his size, honestly, I thought Thurman Thomas. I don't know why. I just thought Thurman, and I know Thurman was a little guy, but
People may not agree with me, but I want them to think back. When I think of Bijan Robinson, I think of Jamal Lewis when he was with the Baltimore Ravens.
Ooh.
He attacks the hole, man.
Jamal was a load.
He knows how to get up in there. He's a load, and he's a little bit more athletic than Jamal Lewis. But that's what I think of when I think of Bijan Robinson. That's who I comp him as. That's just me. That's me. Gibbs, I like Gibbs a lot. Reggie Bush is a tough comparison.
Gibbs is Alvin Kamara, man.
He's Kamara. Yeah, he's Kamara. He's Kamara for sure.
So I'm going to put these players up, and I want you to tell me what you think. You ready?
I'm ready. Darnell Washington, tight end out of Georgia. I think he's a day 2 still, man. When he lines up at tight end, you would think he should be wearing a number in the 70s as an offensive tackle. He is the best run blocking tight end in this draft.
I've heard people compare him to Jason Peters.
Because he could be a tackle.
I've heard people compare him to Kyle Brady.
I mean, he could be a tackle because he's 6'7", 264 pounds.
What?
He's 6'7", 264. And he runs a 4.64. Trying to think of who I could potentially comp him.
Anthony Price comped him as Mercedes Lewis.
I think he's better than Mercedes Lewis. I really do. I don't think Mercedes Lewis blocks the way this kid blocks.
Still in the league, by the way, for somebody that was drafted, 2003?
He is. He's an inline tight end, though. He's not a tight end that you're going to spread out, put him in the slide. He's in line, man. He's a mismatch for linebackers that come up. Like, he just manhandles them, man. His footwork could be a little bit better.
Got a few more.
I like him. I think
okay.
he's a day.
Is he? I'm gonna ask you a question. If he's somebody that could possibly not get, can he get drafted high or slip in the second round?
Somebody may take Darnell Washington at the end of the first. You see somebody like New Orleans, they may grab him, put him at tight end. Like the potential is there for him to go late in the first. It really is. I think he's a high second round pick. I don't think he makes it to the middle of the second round. Man, I like him.
Next one.
I like him a lot, man. This is my guy. You know, everybody knows if you know me, I love corners. Um, Julius Brent, 6'3", 200 pounds. He's not a blazer, but he's fast enough, strong in the running game. Um, I think he's a day two still. I did read a little bit that he's starting to move up draft boards, man. And some people think he may sneak in the bottom of the first round. Um, I love him. I love him. Everything I love about Christian Gonzalez and Joey Porter, he's right there with them, in my opinion. Again, I think we knock older prospects. He's a redshirt senior, so he's been in college for a while. But you can't teach size. He's 6'3", 198. He runs a 4.53, which is not bad when you consider his height. And if you're looking for me to do a comp, maybe Tremaine Johnson.
I'm gonna put your comment up. But me and Dwayne got a little story to tell you about the next player that you put up.
What is it?
Um, tell him you love Deuce Vaughn, Dwayne.
I love Deuce Vaughn. Deuce Vaughn's 5'5".
Anthony, a lot of people don't know, but I know ESPN ran a story is that Deuce Vaughn's father is a scout for the Cowboys. And one of the things that they did this year is his father was never in the room when they talked about him. They didn't want, because one thing about the way that Will McClay runs the draft and the way that they do the draft is they're very honest and open about what they say about a player. And when they scouted Deuce Vaughn, his father wouldn't be in the room. So Deuce Vaughn, if he's around in that third, fourth round, and you know the Cowboys don't have a running back, they may take a flyer on Deuce Vaughn. Deuce Vaughn will be knocked for his size, but however, he can be that punt returner, third down back that can be a problem if you use him properly. Next guy, Dwayne.
Now, Zach Charbonnet, running back, started his career his first two years he was at Michigan. Last 2 years he was at UCLA with Chip Kelly. Strong physical running back. He's not one of those guys. He can do it, but on the NFL level, is he somebody that's going to take it 80? No. But let me tell you something. If it's 3rd and 6, he going to get you 9. He going to move them chains, man. He catch the ball out the backfield a little bit. I think if he's put in the right situation, he can be a very productive back. As we know, the NFL has changed. So a lot of offenses, a lot of teams in the NFL is using the two-system running back. He's the perfect complement to a number one running back who will eventually one day be a solid starter in the NFL.
Yeah. Anthony, what I was saying about Deuce Vaughn is small. I know a lot of people may not realize it, but Tony Pollard is 6'1". A lot of people look at Tony Pollard, look like he's small. He's just, because he was a receiver basically in Memphis and a running back sometimes. Tony Pollard is a little bit bigger than most people really think he is. He just looks small in stature. Next guy, Dwayne.
Now, this is going to be a head scratcher for a lot of people. I'm basing this just based on pure potential. This kid's probably going in the 4th or 5th round. It's Jalen Duncan of Maryland. Again, an older prospect. He's a redshirt senior. This man was a 4-year starter at left tackle at a Power 5 school at Maryland. Sometimes he's a little bit lackluster in his punch. Yeah, the smile. You like the smile? Yeah, sometimes he's a little lackluster in his punch. Sometimes he doesn't anchor himself well. But he's athletic, man.
Is he the one that we're gonna be doing our show Friday, and I say to you, they got him, or Dwayne, he's the one he's at the top of the board for day 3.
I think he's a 4th or 5th rounder. Um, okay, I'll give you somebody that I think he could be. You can put him at right tackle and he'll be Terrence Steele. And Terrence Steele went undrafted out of Texas
So
Tech.
he's the guy that's going to go with Will Anderson, Duke Mayweather after the first year. That's going to work on his technique, work on his punch, and be a starter for a team probably in year 2, year 3.
The crazy thing about Duncan, if you go and you watch film on him, if you go and you watch him, he'll get beat, but he's so athletic he recovers sometimes and still gets the edge rusher out the way of the quarterback. Is Maryland a great team? No, they're not. Um, it's I like him, man. I really do. He's a kid that I'm a root for. He's a kid. If it's the 4th round, I'm like, do it, Dallas, do it, draft him, and so so I like him, man. I ain't gonna spend too much more time on him. I like him, and I think he will wind up being a solid pro. I'm not saying he gonna be a Pro Bowler, but I'm saying you can put him at right tackle and feel comfortable with him there.
And rounding off the top 5, your 5 sleepers.
One of my favorite players in this draft, DeMarvion Overshawn from Texas. Here's the biggest question about him, man. I've seen some people that say he can go in the 2nd round. I've seen some people that say he ain't going to 6. His comp is another person who's changing his number to 0 this year. Javon Curse. He could play outside linebacker, or he could be a safety, or he could be that Javon Curse and like a Dan Quinn type offense. But all I'm a defense. But all I'm gonna say to you is, you turn on some Texas. You watch Texas from last year. 0 is all over the field. Sometimes he's places he shouldn't be because he's just that fast and that athletic. The only question for me is he an outside linebacker or is he a strong safety? I think he's a tweener. I think he could play both. I mean, he's 6'3", 229 pounds. Um, so I think that's what it is. Where you gonna play him? But sometimes you just want athletes on the field. And I'm gonna tell you something. Texas moved them around. Sometimes they used to let him come off the edge and go get the quarterback. And he was able to do that. It's just a matter of where he's gonna play in the NFL. I think NFL coaches are smart, defensive coordinators are smart, and I think there's a team that can find a place for this kid. And I think this kid will be a special teams demon. But I also think he's more than that. I think he's somebody that can help your defense. And again, I think he's Agent Zero, just like Javon Curse is of the Dallas Cowboys.
Interesting. Well, my brother, that about wraps up our show.
No, we can't wrap it up,
Hold
man.
up. Anthony just asked us about someone.
Anthony, I like Quentin Johnson, man. He's big, he's fast. The only thing about Quentin Johnson is your guess is as good as mine if he's gonna catch the ball. He'll get open all day, but is he gonna catch it? Um, I think he's a good day 2. Gridiron Gangs. Gridiron Gang. It was a really good movie.
Him and
Support gang.
Exhibit did their thing in that movie.
Yeah, it was a really good movie, and it was based on a true story, man. Really good movie. Really good movie. I every time it's on, I watch it. That's how much I enjoy it. But before we leave here, man, and for the people that's in the chat too, Team Tank or Team Garcia tonight?
Well, I'm a tank. I'm a tank guy. Go back to where's it at? I want to see Tank win. I think Tank is a very interesting fighter. Hold on, Wayne.
Drop a bomb.
I think Tank is a very interesting fighter. I think Tank has the potential to continue doing what he's doing. Everybody know what it is with Tank. Him and Shakur Stevenson got to fight. They got to fight. They got to get it on. You said something to me earlier yesterday when we was talking about doing a show. Um, hey, just make sure you try to tune in our show, and we appreciate your support. Um,
I
everybody
love
knows.
draft day too.
Everybody knows what it is. Tank and Shakur Stevenson got to fight. I do want to see Tank stop losing so much weight, like you said, because at the end of the day, you do lose some power. So you got to be careful. Tonight, Tank is fighting a good fighter. Garcia is not
Not a
a
pushover.
bum at all. So you got to be careful.
Not a bum. And if
Chump ass nigga. We don't talk. We do what we do.
This is what
Y'all just talking street stuff. We don't talk. We do what we do.
It's not taking him calm.
Chump ass nigga. We don't talk. We do what we do. Y'all just talking street stuff. We don't talk. We do what we do.
That was Tank's last fight. You know, Tank got a crew, man, coming out of Baltimore. Them guys are a little different down there, man. You know, so it's gonna be interesting.
all I'm gonna say is he gotta be careful, because if he slip and Garcia is able to land that left hook, it may be 1, 2, 3. You'll put him to Betty Bob.
Yeah. Garcia is nobody's chump, so it's gonna be interesting.
I like Tank.
Dwayne, man, great show, man. Great
Listen,
conversation.
man, I can keep going, man. I know you cut this, but I'm like a kid in the candy shop, and I'm so looking forward to Thursday, man. And I hope Anthony join us, man. Anthony, join us. You brought a lot to the table tonight. I appreciate you, man. And we like to see you on draft night. And I know a lot of people mess with the draft day movie, but I like that movie too. I watch it. Let me tell you, man, I'm so much into this football thing and this draft thing.
Let me ask you a question.
I watched the movie from 1983 the other day. My best friend Craig was like, "What is you watching?" It was all the right moves.
Yo,
Tom Cruise.
let me ask
Leo.
you a question. Let me ask you a question. I really believe that people don't understand that movie Draft Day literally was how these GMs be willing and dealing, man. Like you get some GMs, and I'm gonna tell you, you know, I'll be honest with you guys. I love GMs. I love personnel. That's one thing I like about the NFL is that if you're into it, you'll one thing about the NFL, if you're into it, you'll be into how things happen behind the scenes. And we all loved Ozzie Smith before he retired. I mean, yeah, Ozzie Newsome before he retired. I'm thinking about baseball and some of the work that Ozzie Newsome did. But I'm going to tell you guys something, and I know I said it earlier during the show. I'm not a Seattle fan, but if you want to watch their webcam during draft, watch John Snyder at work. John Snyder is a bad man. The Allen Trust is still going on with his family and who's going to run the team. But when they got cachet, and me and Dwayne, we talk about one thing about us with the draft and what we talk about behind the scenes, and we talked about it before. It was 2 years ago. We knew that Miami had something because when they hired Will Greer was willing and dealing. They had draft cachet, and I hate to admit it, I know a lot of Eagle fans don't like it. Get out the way and let Howie do what he do because he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Howie ate the most money in salary cap history when he got rid of Wentz. And look what he's got you. He got you in the Super Bowl. And he got 2 first-round picks this year. And he could trade out of both of the picks, restock his draft, and guess what? Somebody will give him next year's number 1 for that 10th pick. Just get out the way and let Howie do what he do. So I'm looking forward to watching, you know, they give us the camera view sometimes during the draft for their war room. And we're gonna have two of our good friends going to be joining the show, and they got a different perspective. And we're gonna talk about Trey Lance, man. Trey Lance might be getting traded, so
they get traded. I think day 2 of the draft, folks. I think before day 2 of the draft commences on Friday, you will see the completion of the Aaron Rodgers to the New York Jets. And I think Green Bay will, part of it, they will get one of those, if not both of those second round picks from the Jets for this year. And I think they may get a one next year for Aaron Rodgers. So I think that happens on Friday, folks. I think the NFL will ask them not to do it on Thursday because that'll take over their whole first round. But I think come Friday, Aaron Rodgers will be wearing number 8 for the New York Jets. I say 8 because I just don't think you should be giving him Joe Namath's number, even if Joe Namath gave the approval for it.
Yeah. Interesting thing. It's an interesting thing, Dwayne. Will Zach Wilson be part of the trade, or will they keep him?
They'll keep Zach Wilson. Because how many years is Aaron Rodgers going to give you? 3 max?
And I think that's the problem with the compensation right there, is that they don't know what he's going to do, because Aaron Rodgers is an athlete who, I won't say fickle, I won't say these crazy names that people say, but one thing about the athlete, when the athlete is toward the end of their career and they got enough money, they need certain things to motivate them. We see it in all sports, and a lot of times guys will come and say, "Oh, this athlete that and this that." I think Broner, I think Ratchet Studios. Thanks for joining us, bro. Thanks for the support.
Where you been, man? Like, where you been on our power reviews? Where you been, Ratchet Studios? I just
Sunday,
asked you about you the other day.
yeah. Sunday night at 9:00, we're gonna be doing Power Ratchet Studios.
Come on,
Adrian
man.
Browner's biggest problem, I personally think, he needs to get off of social media and figure out if he want to fight again. I know, he part of the squad, so I don't know what he's going to do, because at the end of the day, Mayweather got the money, not you. You part of the squad, but that don't mean you got the money now. Now, Floyd is one person that if you in his circle, he take care of you. But at the end of the day, man, you got to make your bones. And Browner's career, man, he could have really been a real tough fighter, but he just got to stay off of social media.
Q, you got the juice now.
With that, great show, you guys. Thanks for joining us. Both of us got Tank tonight. We'll see. And we'll see you guys Thursday for our draft show. And we'll see you Sunday. We got 2 shows coming up. I got 2 shows coming up Sunday. Sunday night for the Power Show. And before the Power Show, we're doing a show on the Black family, which is going to be interesting because we believe that the Black family is the base in
I get you.
had is the base. Ratchet Studios, man.
I get
We
you.
will see you. Welcome back, Breeze Studios. With that, man, appreciate you guys' support, and we'll see you guys soon.
Yes, sir.